Ankle sprains are common athletic injuries. The usual mechanism is a twisting mechanism where the ligaments on the outside of the ankle are stretched. This stretch results in bleeding and swelling. The initial treatment is rest, ice, compression, and elevation. Along with this injury, usually stiffness can occur. Exercise at home can be very helpful. Occasionally, formal physical therapy is also helpful to help speedy recovery and hopefully prevent further injuries. Our friends at Saco Bay Physical Therapy will demonstrate these exercises for you.
I'm Gabriel Redmond with Saco Bay Physical Therapy, and Ashley and I are going to show you some exercises that you can try at home if you suffered an ankle sprain. You want to be careful when you're doing these exercises because you want to make sure that they're pain-free for you. We're going to start and we're going to have Ashley do a heel raise or a calf raise. This is going to start strengthening the gastrocnemius or the calf muscle, which is the strongest muscle in our lower leg and the prime muscle as far as propelling us forward when we're walking and running. She's doing those great, and as you can tell, she can tolerate doing these without holding on. If it is painful, first thing you want to do is either hold on to a counter to take some pressure off. You can also use a couple of ski poles in either hand. If it's still painful at that point, you probably just want to hold off with this exercise and add that in later when you do tolerate it. What we're going to get into next is a balance exercise. We need to do a combination of strengthening and proprioception or balance with these ankle injuries in order to get the best results. We're going to use a foam pad. If you don't have one of these at home, you can certainly stand on a pillow. You can also fold a thick blanket in half so that you have something to stand on that gives you a little bit of instability. We're going to have Ashley balancing on this. And as she's doing that, she's doing a great job. She has a little bit of bend in that knee to engage the rest of her muscles in her leg. Her ankle is working pretty hard to keep her on there. Those muscles are shifting back and forth to maintain that balance. The highest concentration of balance receptors are located in the ligaments inside your ankle. When you sprain your ankle, you're actually injuring those ligaments, and therefore the balance is thrown off quite a bit. So we certainly need to incorporate this into your program. And again, if you don't tolerate this up front, this is something that you're going to add in a little bit later when the pain is less. If you want to take this to the next level, you could certainly have somebody tossing you a soccer ball or a football and catching it, doing some upper extremity activities, which further throw off that balance and make it a little bit more challenging. Couple more exercises that we're going to show you. We're going to have Ashley sitting on a table. At home, you can certainly sit on the edge of the bed or you can use a chair, and we're going to get into those next. These last exercises for the ankle, when you have an ankle sprain, are going to involve eversion and inversion of the ankle. We're going to have Ashley starting doing inversion or pulling in, and she's doing a great job with that, where you can see the ankle just gently coming in, controlling it on the way back out. At home, you want to try to attach the band at a nice even level, keeping it as parallel to the floor as possible. These bands you can certainly get from your local physical therapist, and there's also many stores in the area where you can find them, becoming very popular. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that the motion is comfortable, and if it's not, the first thing you want to do is shorten up that movement just a little bit. The inversion and eversion muscles, they create kind of like a guide wire for your foot and ankle when you're walking, running, going throughout your day, and provide a tremendous amount of stability. We're going to have Ashley just switch that band over to her opposite foot, and we're going to have her do the next motion, the eversion. Now there's a group of muscles that perform both of these motions, and you really just want to make sure that you're keeping the foot position and the range of motion nice and comfortable for you. That's looking good. You can see there's a pretty similar distance that's being traveled with the eversion, which she's currently doing, versus the first exercise she did, which is the inversion. Making sure that they're comfortable, and again, if they're not comfortable, definitely want to hold off into a later date as far as incorporating this into your ankle program. At home, you can shoot for a little bit higher repetitions with these, anywhere from 20 to 30 repetitions, as long as they're pain-free would be very appropriate.
These exercises are usually very helpful. Occasionally, if you have persistent problems, you may require further assistance from your physical therapist or physician.